piece of shit. This is what I get for being an asshole. Nelson Snow just gifted 5 memberships away. Thank you so much, Nelson. Holy shit, I really do appreciate that. You are my hero. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hey there. Whoa there. Hey there. Whoa there. Hey there. Welcome to the stream. Here to break the news. Plenty to talk about. Watch me change the key. Hi, everybody. Hey there. Remember to hydrate, folks, with core water. Oh. Take me to the king. I'm DMing Scotty K Fitness right now.
Yeah, people.
Oh, Scotty. I'm gonna watch that after. I'm gonna watch this after. How's it? Oh, Scotty K Fitness? Yeah, you guys know Scotty K Fitness? Alrighty. Take me to the king. RIP your TikTok comments, bro. It's totally fine. They have no idea what they're doing. You see, the more they interact with my comments, the more they watch my videos and interact, the more leftist content is going to show up in their algorithm. Because the TikTok gods, the algorithmic lords, they don't give a fuck about anything other than clicks. And if you are spending time on leftist content, showing hate in the comments, well, that means you're spending time there. That means you want to see more of it. That means the gods are going to feed you more of it, and you're going to be exposed to more leftist ideology. And eventually you're going to see something and go, yeah, well, I mean, that makes sense. Fuck, wait. That's a socialist, radical, Marxist, Leninist. You're schizophrenic, bro. Fascism isn't back. Well, don't worry, because we have some stuff to cover. So I'm going to click record, and then we're going to get right into the fascism. If you're willing to stay for 5 minutes, you're in my dream blunt rotation. But who's in your dream blunt rotation? Hassan Piker, Kyle Kolinsky, and Mao Zedong! No, I'm kidding. I don't even know who the other one is. But anyway, let's start recording. Hey there, hey everybody, hi, I'm your perfect and humble leader, Chris Valenti. Welcome to the latest episode of the Valenti VOD. We're going to cover a little bit of, the U.S. sliding into authoritarian regime territories. It looks like fascism is here, ladies and gentlemen, and you don't need to take my word for it. You're going to take NPR's word for it, and you're going to take Jason Stanley, who is a fascist expert. He studies fascism at Yale University, and he has fled the United States of America and just issued a dire warning on CNN. Yes, you heard that right. CNN, fake liberal news media. Regardless, we're going to cover it. We're going to watch it. We're going to give our opinions on it. This is what real independent media looks like. I've got no funding. I've never had a conversation with a billionaire or an advertiser or a government or any of the sorts. So please like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It costs you nothing, and it helps me immensely. If you do want to help the channel financially, there's a handful of ways you could do it. You could become a patron on Patreon for $5. Big shout out to the patrons. You could become a member on YouTube for $5. Big shout out to the members. You could fucking use the 40% off discount on Ground News, and you could buy some Valenti Videos merch. VV. Anyway, Let's dive in. So the first thing that we're going to do is watch this interview on CNN between Jim Scudo and this fascism expert, because it's 5.5 minutes. We're going to put it on increased speed, but it's really fucking telling, and we're gonna listen to it, okay?
Thank you.
So first, help us understand your decision. I know as you've explained this in some of your...
This is a Yale professor who studies fascism. He's a fascist expert, and he decided to flee the U.S.
writings. It was partly about your children. But I also wonder, do you believe that, given what you study, that you yourself might have faced the possibility of arrest or other harassment had you stayed?
Well, first of all, Tim Snyder and Marcy Shore already moved. So they moved for a number of different reasons. And their presence there to set up sort of an institution to defend democracy was attractive for me. But your question is apt. I am not alone in wondering whether I will be targeted.
He is not alone. I wonder the same thing.
A fascist, authoritarian atmosphere. There's a poem about this. First, they came for the communists, and I did not speak up because I was not a communist.
And then they came for the gooners, and I did not speak up, for I am not a gooner,
etc. Then they came for me, and no one was left to speak for me. In this atmosphere of fear, everyone, the media, the professors, immigrants, LGBTQ Americans, everyone wonders whether they will be targeted. And that's deliberate. That culture of fear is deliberate. And so I saw that I had this opportunity, and I thought, why do I have to live in a culture of fear?
Yeah, well, you also are probably incredibly wealthy, and you're able to become an expat very quickly. It's not easy for average Americans to pack up shop and just move to another fucking nation.
Add to the list. Law firms, right? Republican lawmakers who defied the president. So many have been targeted. I wonder why you believe the American public does not seem to be aware of this. Some people are, but I certainly don't see panic in the streets. I see people going about their lives. I mean, are we the frog in the boiling water, as it...
We are the frog in the boiling water, and the main problem is that people don't know what to do. People can see that Trump is defying Supreme Court orders to bring back Kilmar Abrego Garcia. People see Trump defying the Supreme Court. They see Elon Musk and Doge defying Supreme Court orders to delete private servers, And if the Supreme Court has no power, if the Supreme Court is moot, then what the fuck are we supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we supposed to do? Yell at our representatives to go and bully Elon Musk when there's no authoritative body, there's no enforcement body? How are we supposed to do anything?
It were, as this happens around us.
Well, fascism targets the pillars of democracy. And what are the pillars of democracy? The schools and universities, the legal system.
And we see Trump. He just announced that no schools are going to get federal funding if they have quote unquote anti-Israel protests, meaning just like Free Palestine protests. We see Trump attacking Harvard University and Columbia University. They come for the education first because fascists understand he who controls the youth can control the future. It's the same reason why Trump has attacked the Department of Education, trying to get it back into state control. If you can keep the people at a very low level of education, then they will not be smart enough to question the shit that you're doing to them, right? So Trump and this regime, they're trying to breed in the next era of American fascists.
And the media. So people in those three institutions that defend democracy are going to be the first to notice it. And of course, the scapegoats of fascism. So the scapegoats of fascism vary depending upon...
The scapegoats of fascism, this is something that I studied when I was learning about the time period in Germany between World War I and World War II. There was the Dolchstoß myth, the stab in the back myth, and that's probably what you're going to experience in the United States today. But in Germany, what they did was they blamed the failure of the nation, their collapse, their loss of World War I. They blamed it on the Jews and the politicians and the minorities and the homosexuals and the pacifists and the socialists and anybody and everybody other than the military generals and the military leaders who were actually responsible, and the war profiteers who were responsible for this. And that's what you're going to start to see. That's what you're already seeing. They're labeling even, U.S. citizens who are, anti-American values because they don't like the current administration. They're labeling them as enemies.
On the country you live in. They could be Black people, Black Americans in the United States were the scapegoats of fascism, LGBTQ people, and always immigrants, always xenophobia.
Do you see any checks holding, right? You hear a lot about, well, the courts will stand in the way. We have seen some court decisions go against this president, but we've seen him go right up to the line, perhaps cross the line of ignoring those decisions.
and we're only a few months into this regime.
Yeah.
So I think my reading of the situation, and this played into my decision to leave my home, my reading of the situation is that it's quite likely that we're headed into a fascist dictatorship. It's not clear what the breaks would be.
We are in a fascist dictatorship. If the fucking Supreme Court orders 9-0 unanimously, they all order Trump to bring back Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and he says, I can't do it, I won't do it. That means that he's no longer a president. If the Supreme Court can't challenge a president, if there's no more checks and balances, if the Republican Party owns the House, the Senate, the Congress, the presidency, the Supreme Court, there is no president. That's not a president. That's a dictator. We've already reached that point.
It's not certain. The future is not certain. There could be a mass movement. There could be resistance. What Harvard University did is a source of hope. I think people now see that standing up is much more effective. You don't respond to a domestic abuser by trying to satisfy them. Their demands just get more extreme. So that gives me a lot of hope, actually. But right now we're 50-50 or whatever. I don't know how to do the statistics, but it's likely enough that you should be thinking about different. I mean, in my case, I had this great opportunity, and I looked at the probabilities.
A lot of folks beyond the courts point to the midterms.
So this guy, a fascism expert, professor at Yale University who fled the nation, just said on CNN, which is, I understand CNN like is left-leaning, but this is like national media, national news that like your mom and dad watch, your grandparents watch CNN and Fox. He just said there's a 50-50 chance that the United States will turn into a fascist authoritarian regime. This guy is an expert on fascism. He wouldn't have fled his fucking nation if he wasn't genuinely afraid.
Say, well, during the midterms, you'll get a check. Perhaps the House will go the other way. But I wonder, is it worth asking the question as to whether this administration, perhaps emboldened, would allow elections, or if not stop elections entirely, allow elections to proceed fairly?
Well, what authoritarianism is a culture of fear and threat. So I've never in my lifetime seen the ruling party 100% line up behind the leader. That's like communist China, right?
Exactly. I've said this before. The reason why people like Matt Gaetz or RFK or Pam Bondi, the reason why all of these people say and do whatever Trump tells them to do is not because they're stupid enough to believe it, right? Or Marco Rubio. It's because they're afraid of Donald Trump. They're afraid that he's going to lash out and fire them and remove them and publicly shame them, because that's what he does. When people disobey Trump, he lashes out. He publicly shames them. And these people are afraid of their reputation being ruined because a lot of them are career politicians. Trump entered this game from The Apprentice, a fucking TV show, a reality TV show host. These people are career politicians, and they're afraid that if they piss this guy off, they're going to lose their entire career.
An authoritarian country. I've always seen dissension among the Republicans between different factions of the Republicans, as you would expect in a healthy democracy. But we're not seeing that. We're seeing 100% compliance. That suggests to me real fear. Which is the mark of an authoritarian society. I don't know if this regime if President Trump will listen to the Congress. Will it matter who controls the Congress?
No, it won't.
It's a fair question, right? And by the way, there are a whole host of congressional statutes that have been passed that by previous Congresses being ignored by the administration. Well, Jason Stanley, I do appreciate the work you're doing. I wish you the best of luck.
Now, here's the thing, guys. This is not the only fascism expert trying to ring the alarm bells. We've got an article here from NPR. Hundreds of scholars say the U.S. is swiftly heading toward authoritarianism. A survey of more than 500 political scientists finds that the vast majority think the United States is moving swiftly from liberal democracy towards some form of authoritarianism. In the benchmark survey known as Brightline Watch, U.S.-based professors rate the performance of American democracy on a scale from 0, complete dictatorship, to 100, perfect democracy. After President Trump's election in November, scholars gave American democracy a rating of 67. Several weeks into Trump's second term, that figure plummeted to 55. That's a precipitous drop, says John Kerry, a professor of government at Dartmouth and co-director of Brightline Watch. Quote, "There's certainly consensus. we're moving in the wrong direction. Kerry said the decline between November and February was the biggest since Brightline Watch began surveying scholars on threats to American democracy in 2017. In the survey, respondents consider 30 indicators of democratic performance, including whether the government interferes with the press, punishes political opponents, and whether the legislature and the judiciary can check executive authority. See, this is important because no, they can't. You can't check executive authority. The Supreme Court can't even check executive authority. So what's stopping Trump from taking over state governments if the Supreme Court can't step in and stop him? He could also, as we know, declare the Insurrection Act of 1807 and take over National Guard units at any given point, which he threatened to do during the George Floyd protests. Trump asked if he could declare the Insurrection Act, and his own advisors had to talk him down from deploying the fucking military during the George Floyd protests. So we already know this guy's a fucking loose cannon. It's unbelievable. Not all political scientists view Trump with alarm, but many, like Kerry, who focus on democracy and authoritarianism, are deeply troubled by Trump's attempts to expand executive power over his first several months in office. Quote, "We've slid into some form of authoritarianism," says Stephen Levitsky, a professor of government at Harvard and co-author of How Democracies Die. Quote, "It is relatively mild compared to some others. It is certainly reversible, but we are no longer living in a liberal democracy." Yeah, we got some pictures of protesters waving the Turkish flag in front of a new mosque in Istanbul, showing protests nationwide. As you know, Turkey is also under Erdogan's control, who is viewed as an authoritarian dictator. Kim Lane Chappelli, a Princeton sociologist who has spent years tracking Hungary, is also deeply concerned. Quote, "We are on a fast slide into what's called competitive authoritarianism. When these scholars use the term authoritarianism, they aren't talking about a system like China's, a one-party state with no meaningful elections. Instead, they are referring to something called, quote, competitive authoritarianism, the kind scholars say they see in countries such as Hungary and Turkey. In a competitive authoritarian system, a leader comes to power. Oh, why is this? What is it? Not charging? Oh, my computer hasn't been charging this whole time. Whoopsie. Let's get that plugged in. Typically, the executive fills the civil service and key appointments, including the prosecutor's office and judiciary, with loyalists. We've seen Trump layer loyalists throughout every single branch of our government. He or she then attacks the media. We've seen that with Associated Press, CNN, universities, Harvard, Columbia, and non-governmental organizations to blunt public criticism and tilt the electoral playing field in the ruling party's favor. The government would still have elections and would nominally be democratic, says Rory Troe, a political scientist at Princeton who focuses on China, but those elections would no longer be free and fair. This is, we're moving into some insane territory. I mean, we have fascism experts across the entire United States ringing the fucking alarm bells, trying to get the people to understand that we are headed into an authoritarian regime. You no longer need to take my fucking credit, my word for it. You don't need to take my word for it. Just take it from the experts. I mean, if you needed surgery, you would want a surgeon to give you surgery, right? You wouldn't want some guy in the fucking alleyway to do it. So when you want warnings about fascism, take it from the fascist experts who have been studying this shit at universities for fucking years, okay? I don't know how else to tell you, MAGA. You gotta fucking open your eyes. You gotta see the goddamn light at some point. Anyway, if you're watching this live, you stay. We're gonna keep going. If you're watching this pre-recorded, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It costs you nothing and it helps me immensely. And watch that video that's gonna pop up on your screen right over there. I promise you, it's an absolute fucking banger. I'll catch you. There we go. That video's done. Just some crazy motherfucking shit. You know what I'm saying? Just some crazy shit going on. Now we gotta make a thumbnail for that. Man, we are the frog in the pot. Yes, we are. Your dog is so stinking cute. I know, Luigi's adorable. Hello, Avi. Not the club. Yeah, no, we'll figure out that thumbnail in a little bit, but we're gonna have to do that later because I lose far too many frames when I'm making thumbnails or uploading YouTube videos. Trump says he's not happy with Russian strikes on Kyiv. Yeah, who gives a fuck if you're not happy? You don't have the cards, douchebag. U.S. and China. Oh, no. U.S. and China holding talks on trade war, Trump says, after Beijing rebuttal.
Can you clarify with whom the U.S. is speaking with China? They're saying it's fake news that trade talks are happening.
Well, they had a meeting this morning, so I can't tell you. It doesn't matter who they is. We may reveal it later, but they had meetings this morning, and we've been meeting with China. And so I think you have, Jeff, as usual, I think you have your reporting wrong. Thank you very much. We'll see you. We'll see you inside. Thank you.
All right, so Trump is getting ready to cave because he sees that, you know, the market fucking hates him. The market fucking hates Trump. Also, David Hogg is kind of becoming a very popular member of the DNC now.
Tell Donald Trump about the renewed energy on the left, especially as Bernie Sanders and AOC's Fighting Oligarchy tour continues to see record crowds. These are in some very deep
You were wrong about martial law, bro. Stop lying to everyone, brother. Yeah, brother. Do you know what the report said? Because April 20th, Pete Hegseth, Kristi Noem had to give Trump a report that said whether or not he should declare martial law. Or sorry, the Insurrection Act of 1807. Do you know what that report said, brother? Also, I do enjoy The Walking Dead, just like you. But do you know what that report said, my brother? My brother in Christ. Nobody knows what it said. Nobody knows what the report fucking said.
deep red districts, y'all.
It said no, simple. No, my sweet boy. We don't get to know what that report said. For all you know, that report said, yeah, you should invoke the Insurrection Act, and Trump is waiting for the right moment. We do not get to know what was in that memo.
Their tour across America follows Democrats attempting to hold Republicans to account by organizing over 70 town halls in 35 states over the past 3 weeks. This is a push that they are going to double down on by focusing on vulnerable Republican districts over this 2-week recess. And it follows the outpouring of protests across America, more than 1,400 in recent weeks. The energy is there. So it's very clear to me that there's an energetic and there is a vocal opposition to Donald Trump. And DNC Vice Chairman David Hogg has an idea of how to channel it. In an unprecedented move, as the DNC does not typically...
If you remember this guy, he was one of the students, what school was it? I can't believe I even have to... The fact that there's so many school shootings in the United States, I don't even remember what the name of the school was. Maybe it was Parkland or whatever. But he survived a school shooting, and he became a big proponent for, like, anti-gun legislation, gun restrictions and shit. He is now the vice chairman of the DNC.
Get involved in primaries. Hogg announced that a separate organization where he serves as president, called Leaders We Serve.
He wanted to, if he would have declared it if he wanted to. Trump is on the right side of history. Let me ask you something, brother. Do you support deporting U.S. citizens to the El Salvadorian slave labor camp? Because Donald Trump does, and he said it with his own words. If you didn't see that, that's okay. It's not your fault. They don't want you to see that, but I'll pull it up for you. Do you support sending U.S. citizens to the El Salvadorian slave labor camp?
I'd like to go a step further.
If they're illegals. No, we're talking about U.S. citizens born on U.S. soil. Here, I'll just show you so you could take it from Trump's mouth instead of mine. You ready?
I mean, I said it to Pam. I don't know what the law. I'd like to go a step further. I mean, I said it to Pam. I don't know what the laws are. We always have to obey the laws, but we also have homegrown criminals. I'd like to include them in the group of people to get them out of the country, but you'll have to be looking at the laws on that, Steve.
You mentioned that you're open to deporting individuals that aren't foreign aliens, but are criminals, to El Salvador. Does that include potentially U.S. citizens, fully naturalized Americans?
The audio's lagging? Did you say the audio's lagging? Let's take it back. Let's watch this again. I want to know if that guy's still here. TWD Enjoyer, you still here? You ready? Watch.
You mentioned that you're open to deporting individuals that aren't foreign aliens, but are criminals, to El Salvador. Does that include potentially U.S. citizens, fully naturalized Americans?
If they're criminals and if they hit people with baseball bats over their head that happen to be 90 years old, and if they rape 87-year-old women in Coney Island, Brooklyn, yeah, that includes them. What, do you think there's a special category of person? They're as bad as anybody that comes in. We have bad ones too. And I'm all for it. Because we can do things with the president for less money and have great security.
So, TWD Enjoyer, do you say, I mean, they are horrible people. That's not the question. The question is simple. Do you also support deporting U.S. citizens to El Salvador? Yes or no? Do you support deporting U.S. citizens to El Salvador? Yes or no? Very simple question. He said if it's legal. It's not legal. It is a violation of the Constitution. It is cruel and unusual punishment. It's not legal. So why does he want to do it if it's legal? Again, I'm going to ask you again. Do you support deporting U.S. citizens to El Salvador? Yes or no? Try to be a big, brave boy. Try not to be a coward. Answer yes or no. Do you support deporting U.S. citizens to El Salvador? Nah, bro. Okay. Do you support Donald Trump because he wants to deport U.S. citizens to El Salvador? You just heard him say that. Do you support Donald Trump wanting to send U.S. citizens to El Salvador? He said they're studying the laws. They won't do it. Oh, so here's the thing. I've studied the laws. So has every single constitutional lawyer in the nation. Trump is an idiot. It's not legal. Now that I'm telling you it's not legal, why does he still want to do it? Now that you know it's not legal, why does he still want to do it? Now that you know it is illegal, do you still want Trump? Do you still support Trump doing it? Come on, be brave. I don't know, man. I'll do more research. Well, I mean, I feel like that should be a clear-cut red line where when Trump says he wants to deport U.S. citizens, you, an American, a U.S. citizen, if you had any fucking balls, you would say, that's a line too far. You can't deport a U.S. citizen because you deport people back to where they came from, and we're talking about U.S. citizens. The fact that that's not a line in the sand for you shows me that you are in a cult. In a cult, brother. Let me ask you a question, enjoyer. What matters more to you, the U.S. Constitution or Donald Trump? Yes, Trump says he wants to deport U.S. citizens, but only the ones that are criminals. Constitution over anything. Okay, so, enjoyer, do you support Trump getting a third term? If you support the Constitution over everything, do you support Trump getting a third term? If it's legal and they amend it, then yes. Okay, so here's what I find interesting. Thank you for the $2, Pipcore. You just said that you support the Constitution over anything, and yet you are okay with amending the Constitution for the sole purpose of allowing Donald Trump to run for a third term. You're okay with that, with amending the United States Constitution for the sole purpose of letting one man run a third term, and you still don't think that you're in a cult? You still don't think Obama can run? No, he can't, TWD enjoyer. You want to know why I know this? Because I read. Do you want me to bring up the actual black and white text where it says only Donald Trump can run? Do you want me to bring that up? Because it says only Donald Trump can run a third term. Do you want to see it? Do you want to learn? Do you want to learn that you are advocating to amend the Constitution to allow one man to run for president a third time? No, bro, I'm just saying only legal stuff. No, let me show you. Let me show you, enjoyer, so you can learn. This is the proposed amendment. No person shall be elected to the office of president more than 3 times. Now, I know you get that, but please read this and try to understand what this sentence means. Try your hardest. Nor be elected to any additional term after being elected to 2 consecutive terms. Did Barack Obama serve 2 consecutive terms? TWD enjoyer. Yes. So this proposed amendment says that only Donald Trump can run for a third term because Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and George W. Bush all served 2 consecutive terms. So you are advocating to amend the United States Constitution to allow one man, Donald Trump, to run for a 3rd term. You are that deep in a cult. You're willing to rewrite the Constitution solely so that one man can have a 3rd term. One man. Yes, Andrew, we covered that yesterday. No, Congressman, we have amended it before. Also, Biden can run. Yeah, Biden, who's like an actual fucking corpse. Yeah, okay. So, again, let's just see. To recap, you said you support the Constitution over everything. Now you're saying you support rewriting the Constitution to allow Donald Trump to serve a 3rd term. You said you don't support deporting U.S. citizens. Donald Trump says he wants to deport U.S. citizens. You said, well, only if it's legal. Well, it's not legal. It's not legal. By any shape or form is it legal. And yet, Trump still wants to do it. There's nothing Trump can say that would make you stop supporting him because you're in a cult. There's literally nothing he can do to make you stop supporting him. Nothing at all. Of course Trump is selling Trump 2028 merch. He's got stupid idiots like this guy who are already okay with him running a 3rd term. I don't support that much of Trump. I'm still a Trump supporter. No, I disagree. I don't think there's anything Trump can do that would make you stop supporting him. Because he's already done so much that the fact that you still support him just proves that you're in a cult. He tanked the U.S. economy. The stock market right now is in a worse place than it was in 1932, which was a time period known as the Great Depression. You don't think that's true. Donald Trump says he wants to deport U.S. citizens. You don't care. Donald Trump wants to rewrite the Constitution to run for a 3rd term. You don't care. Donald Trump wants to ban the Associated Press and CNN from the White House press corps. You don't care. Donald Trump wants to lower the taxes of the 1% to 0%. You don't care. Donald Trump wants to destroy the Department of Education. You don't care. Donald Trump wants to freeze federal funding for cancer research in Harvard University. You don't care. There's literally nothing he can do that will make you stop supporting him. You are a bootlicking cultist. That's what you are. It's time you just embrace reality. That's what you are. You're a bootlicking cultist. That's what you are. No, we don't need to bonk him. He doesn't need to be muted. He needs to see reality. Every stream, there's another maggot here. Yeah, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It costs you nothing, and it helps me immensely. It's crazy how fucking brainwashed these people are. There's nothing Donald Trump can do. Remember when Donald Trump said he could shoot a man on Fifth Avenue and he would still have support? He was right. These people will literally vote for him if he commits a fucking murder. They'll still vote for him. I don't support all things. Hey, TWD Enjoyer, can you name one thing that Donald Trump has done that you don't support? And could you also do that first? Name one thing that Donald Trump has done that you don't support. One thing. Not doing tax on tips and overtime. Oh, okay. So you can name something he's done wrong. Now watch this. I really want you to think about this, Enjoyer. Can you name one Trump policy that has made your life better? One. One. A single one. Getting trans people out of women's sports. So you do know that trans population is literally less than 1% of the population. And of the trans population, the ones who compete in professional sports are 0.1% of the population. So the one policy that you support of Donald Trump affects 0.1% of the United States population. You really do care about the important things, don't you? Like war and the economy and immigration. No, you just care about trans people. Why? First of all, I don't know why you're so weirdly obsessed with people's genitals. You should try getting a fucking life or a hobby. But second of all, notice how that is literally the only thing. And now please also tell me, how did that make your life better? How did Trump banning trans people from competing in sports make your life better? Your little sister does sports, so. And what? How many trans people were in the school, or was she getting like her ass beaten by all these trans people in the school? All those high school athletes that are trans were dominating the women's volleyball team? Really did make your life better, didn't it, right? Really made your life all that much better, right? Your life is great now that Donald Trump banned trans people from participating in sports. It's the principle of the act. No, that's not what I'm asking. Tell me how that made your life better. You cannot name one Trump policy that made your life better. You can't name a single one because he doesn't give a fuck about you and he doesn't want to make your life better. He doesn't give a fuck about you. Let me ask you a genuine question, TWD Enjoyer. Do you think Donald Trump cares about you? Do you think Donald Trump cares about you? Come on, think about it. Does any politicking... How old are you, TWD Enjoyer? How old are you? Oh, well, listen, I don't think I can fix you. I think you're too far gone. I think you're in a cult. There's nothing I can say. I think with critical thinking, I use logic and reason to come to my conclusions. I don't think you're capable of that, so I'm not going to keep on entertaining this. There's nothing I can say to get you to stop supporting Donald Trump. You will always support Donald Trump. Nobody can help you. You're too fucking unintelligent. I can't help you. I'm sorry. I wish you the best of luck. Brother, you're just a leftist radical. You don't even name one leftist policy. Name one leftist policy. Socialism. What is socialism? What is socialism? What is socialism? Free handouts. Thank you for proving my point. You don't know what socialism is. Hey, what's communism? Watch this, guys. Hey, what's communism? What's communism? People live in communes. Thank you for proving my point again. Hey, what's Marxist-Leninism? What's Marxist-Leninism? All right, so watch this. I'm not going to entertain this, bro. You're wrong. What's capitalism? What's capitalism? Free markets. You think capitalism is when free markets? Mm-hmm. Hey, real quick. Do you think China is a communist nation? Yes, the CCP. Okay, so why does China have a billionaire class, a working class, and then a peasant class? Why, if they're communists, why haven't they gotten rid of classes? Why haven't they evenly redistributed the wealth and then built communes? Huh? Why do they have an authoritarian dictator? Isn't that antithetical to communism? They're working on it, bro. It takes time. How convenient. Hey, buddy, do you think North Korea is a democratic republic? No? But that's strange. North Korea calls themselves the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and, you know, you said that China is communist because they call themselves the Chinese Communist Party. And if the North Koreans call themselves the Democratic People's Republic, doesn't that mean, by your logic, that they are a democratic republic? Because you said that China is communist because they call themselves communists. So doesn't that mean that the North Koreans are democratic because they call themselves democratic? I'm not an expert on geopolitics. Neither am I. I'm a dumb guy. But I'm nowhere near as stupid as you. I'm just a dumb guy that studied history and politics, bro. I ain't no fucking expert. But even I am capable of understanding how communism works and that China's not a communist nation. Look at this fucking post on Truth Social from Trump. I am not happy with the Russian strikes on Kyiv. Not necessary and very bad timing. Vladimir, stop! 5,000 soldiers a week are dying. Let's get the peace deal done. Typical lefty, we're just owning the libs. Dude, I'm not trying to be like overly brutal here or overly cruel, but you're a very, very stupid person. Just based off your grammar alone. Probably gonna get that video uploaded now. Make a thumbnail, huh? Trump 2028 merch? No, but I've heard about it. That's because I do hard blue-collar work and pay for you to be a commie trader. We've already gone over this, TWD Enjoy. You don't know what communism is. You are living in the third Red Scare. It's why, see, you're so uneducated that you are capable of labeling anybody who you don't like as a communist, Marxist, Leninist. And yeah, you're a blue-collar worker. You're probably a union guy. And yet you're stupid enough to have voted for your own demise and vote for the most anti-union president in American history. You are the uneducated. Trump said it himself. We love the uneducated. We're going for the uneducated. He knew how stupid you were. That's why he tacked to the right, despite the fact that Trump has been a Democrat his entire life. He knew if he wanted to get into power, he'd have to, rally the dumb. And he decided to go with you. You wanted Kamala. Yeah, I would have taken a fucking cup of piss over an actual fascist. Donald Trump has literally crashed the U.S. economy. He has weakened U.S. hegemony worldwide. He's getting us thrown out of NATO. He's used Doge to destroy Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP benefits, the VA. Yeah, Donald Trump is the worst president in American history, and he will go down as the worst president in American history. I hope you understand that in the history books, Donald Trump will, without a shadow of a doubt, go down as the worst president in American history. Let me guess, you don't support mass deportations? No, because I know what mass deportation is. What is mass deportation, TWD Enjoyer? Tell me what that is. What is a mass deportation? Getting illegals out that broke the law, so enforcing the law. No, dumbass. Mass deportation is deporting every single undocumented immigrant in the United States of America, including the 13 million children who were brought here by their parents. So, let me ask you, do you support deporting 13 million children? He's going to say yes, by the way. If they're here illegally. There it is. See, I am superior to you. Everyone in this chat is superior to you. You don't have empathy. And this is probably because of the way you were raised. You were probably raised by a very, very weak pair of parents. Your father was probably a weak man. Your mother was a weak man. They probably were raised by weak people. You live in fear of others. This is probably why you're racist. You're afraid that other races may be able to replace you. This is probably why you're a Christian nationalist. You're afraid that other religions are going to replace you. You probably believe in the Great Replacement Theory. This comes from you being a weak man. You always will be a weak man. Just let the rest of us take care of the things that matter, and you continue that blue-collar job and just keep doing what you do. The rest of us will take care of it. You don't need to worry about this. This is clearly too complex for you. Yeah, we'll do the paperwork. Let me ask you something. I want to see if you support this. This will be fun. This will be fun. You think my mom paid for this apartment? No, I paid for this apartment. Do you support this too? This little girl with no parents and no lawyer, 4 years old, facing a deportation judge? Because this is what Trump did. This is what Donald Trump did. That's a 4-year-old girl facing a deportation judge with no lawyer, no parents. Is this what you support? Is this what you support? Is this what you support? Yes or no? Be brave. See, I can proudly stand by my beliefs. I can proudly dig my heels in the ground and say that you absolutely cannot deport this little girl, nor can you have her in front of a judge without a lawyer. Sometimes we got to enforce the law. All right, I'm going to read some quotes and you're going to tell me that you support this. See, here's a quote from the judge, how she had to talk. First things first. These children swivel in chairs, walk in circles, and play with their hair. Here's what the judge said. The reason we're here is because the government of the United States wants you to leave the United States. It's my job to figure out if you have to leave. It's also my job to figure out if you have to stay. The parties included a 7-year-old boy wearing a shirt emblazoned with a pizza cartoon who spun a toy windmill while the judge spoke. There was an 8-year-old girl and her 4-year-old sister in a tie-dye shirt who squeezed a pink plushy toy and stuffed it into her sleeve. None of the children were accompanied by parents or attorneys. So please say proudly and confidently that you support this 7-year-old boy, this 4-year-old girl, and her 8-year-old sister, all facing a deportation order with no judge and no parents. Say you support that, and then expect your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, to welcome you into the fucking pearly gates. Really think about this for a second, and think. If your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, is going to accept you at the pearly gates when you proudly advocate for 4-year-old girls to stand in front of deportation judges without their fucking parents or a lawyer, you scummy little piece of shit. You are a fucking shit stain on this society. Worthless sack of shit. You be brave. Say you support this. Say you support this 7-year-old boy, 8-year-old girl, and 4-year-old girl standing in front of a deportation judge spinning their fucking windmill toys with no parents and no attorney. No whataboutism, you fucking coward. Answer the fucking question. Try and be a brave little boy and stand behind your humble leader and his decisions. Stand beside it. Don't pivot, coward. Be brave. Come on, be brave. What happened? You were so vocal earlier. No pivoting. And here, I'll answer it for you. No, I don't support Barack Obama because we killed 2.6 million Iraqis. See, I'm capable of criticizing my party. I don't support Barack Obama. Now, please answer the question. Do you support this 7-year-old boy, 8-year-old girl, and her 4-year-old sister playing with their toys, facing a deportation judge without their parents and without an attorney? Come on. Don't pivot. Be brave. Answer the question. Be brave. Be brave. Be brave. Come on. We're talking about children. We're talking about 26,000 children. Tell me why you support 26,000 children facing deportation orders without their parents or without lawyers. He probably rage quit. Yeah, most likely. It's really hard to defend this type of stuff. But in order to be a Donald Trump supporter, you have to defend this type of stuff. So it's becoming harder and harder for people to be Trump supporters. This is part of the reason why his approval rating is plummeting. There more to the context. No, here's the context right here. The Trump administration terminated a $200 million contract that funds attorneys and other legal services for unaccompanied children. And now, because of this, 26,000 children across the country will face a deportation judge without their parents or without an attorney. There's the context for you. Now tell me why you support that. You are evil. Tell me why you support something this evil. Something that your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, would say is quite literally sacrilegious. I didn't vote for Elon. Well, you got him anyway. So please tell me why you support this. That's Elon. Please tell me why you support this. You don't. Oh, so now, finally, you say you don't support it. When at first you said if they're illegal, and then you said sometimes you gotta enforce the law. Now, finally, you're realizing that Jesus would turn you away at the fucking pearly gates if you supported this shit. And this is the man you voted for. You voted for this. You voted for this. This is on you. You said you support mass deportation. These 26,000 kids are included. So do you support mass deportation or not? Because if you do, you support this. Make a fucking choice. Do you support mass deportation or not? I didn't know about this when I was voting for him. Well, you do now. Let me ask you something. Do you support Trump 2028 still? You still support Trump 2028? I don't know. So after everything you just saw, the deportation of 26,000 children without their parents or without an attorney, Trump saying he wants to send U.S. citizens to an El Salvadorian slave labor camp, Trump wanting to rewrite the U.S. Constitution to allow him to run a third term. After all of this, Trump crashing the stock market worse than the Great Depression. After all this, you don't know. You don't know? You don't know. No, I don't support Trump 2028. Well, looks like we converted one of them, folks. Looks like we converted one of them. Trump stopped sending people to Guantanamo Bay because Guantanamo Bay is owned by the United States, and everything he was doing was a violation of U.S. law. The reason why they're sending these people to El Salvador is because as soon as that plane is over international waters, U.S. law no longer applies. So he can send these people there with no due process, no court date, nothing at all, U.S. citizens, and if a judge orders that they be brought back, like the Supreme Court ordered for Kilmar Abrego Garcia, he does not have to follow the order because he no longer has jurisdiction once that prisoner is in El Salvador. If it was in Guantanamo Bay, he would still have to follow U.S. law. I'm not a time traveler, brother. Neither am I, and I was capable of realizing that he was going to be a fascist, authoritarian piece of shit. Just, dude, now that you see that this guy is a scumbag, please stop advocating for him. Please stop. He is destroying the nation you were born in. He's not fascist, but he is not good. He is, by definition, fascist. He meets every single key characteristic of fascism. We could go through them if you'd like to see the key characteristics of fascism. He meets every single one. Every single one. Would you like to see them? I've got the checklist. We've got the checklist. Would you like to go through them? We could go through them. Political science Dr. Lawrence Britt recently wrote an article about fascism. Fascism is like the Nazis and the Italians during World War II. So here are the 4 key characteristics, and you tell me if he meets them. 1, powerful and continuing nationalism. Fascist regimes tend to make constant use of patriotic mottos, slogans, symbols, songs, and other paraphernalia. Flags are seen everywhere, as are flag symbols on clothing and public display. Does he meet this one? Does he meet this one? Just wanted to say sorry. You don't need to be sorry, dude. Just don't vote for him again. You don't need to be sorry. Just don't do it again. Does he meet this one? Yeah, I guess. Okay, number 2. Disdain for the recognition of human rights. Because of fear of enemies and the need for security, the people in fascist regimes are persuaded that human rights can be ignored in certain cases because of need. The people tend to look the other way and even approve of torture, summary executions, assassinations, long incarcerations of prisoners, etc. You are seeing that right now with sending people to the El Salvadorian slave labor camp. Does he meet this one too? Yes, he does. Identification of enemies / scapegoats. The people are rallied into a unifying patriotic frenzy over the need to eliminate a perceived common threat or foe. Racial, the undocumented immigrants. Ethnic or religious minorities, anybody who's not Christian. Liberals, communists, socialists, and terrorists. Does he meet this one? Because you fucking called me a radical communist. You've already done it earlier. Does he meet this one? Because he sure as fucking shit does. Does he meet this one? He called Kamala Harris radical Marxist-Leninist. Yeah. Okay, number 4. Supremacy of the military. Even when there are widespread domestic problems, the military is given a disproportionate amount of government funding and the domestic agenda is neglected. Soldiers and military service are glamorized. We already seen Doge is cutting social programs like Social Security and welfare and SNAP benefits. Meanwhile, they're adding money to the fucking military's budget. So, does he meet this one? He does. Yes? Yes. Rampant sexism. The governments of fascist nations tend to be almost exclusively male-dominated. Under fascist regimes, traditional gender roles are made more rigid. Remember earlier when he said getting men out of women's sports? Opposition to abortion is high, as is homophobia and anti-gay legislation. Does he meet this one? Tip, the answer is yes. Does he meet this one? Come on, TWD enjoyer, does he meet this one? Yes. Controlled mass media. Sometimes the media is directly controlled by government, but in other cases, the media is indirectly controlled by government regulation or sympathetic media spokespeople and executives. Censorship, especially in wartime, is very common. Trump banned the Associated Press from the White House, and he's already trying to ban CNN. They welcome people like Tim Pool into the White House press briefing. They are surrounding themselves with private fucking news organizations. Does he meet this? Obsession with national security. Fear is used by a motivational tool for the government over the masses. Yes, he meets this. You said earlier, you're like, oh, we got all these criminals here. Like, yes, he does this. He says that there's 20 million fucking rapists and gang murderers, right? So does he meet this one? Religion and government are intertwined. Trump created the Department of Faith, okay? Governments and fascist nations tend to use the most common religion in the nation as a tool to manipulate public opinion. Religious rhetoric and terminology is common from government leaders, even when the major tenets of the religion are diametrically opposed to the government's policies or actions, which they are. Christianity is all about loving thy neighbor and when no borders and loving everybody and people, loving each other freely. But Trump wants to fucking do the largest deportation campaign in American history, and he tries to make fucking Christian nationalism a thing. So yeah, does he meet this one? Does he meet this one? Corporate power is yes to all. Well, then let's just go down the corporate power is protected. Yes, he fucking meets that. He's all about the billionaires. Labor power is suppressed. He's a huge anti-union guy. He's supporting anti-union legislation. Disdain for the intellectuals and the arts. You've seen him attacking Harvard University and Columbia University and the National History Museum. Obsession with crime and punishment. He keeps saying he wants to send people to these El Salvadorian prison camps. They're trying to give Luigi the fucking death penalty. Rampant cronyism and corruption. Elon fucking Musk exists. And Pete Hegseth and Marjorie Taylor Greene's insider trading. And then finally, fraudulent elections. This motherfucker tried to do a fraudulent electorate scheme in the January 6th insurrection. He meets all 14 key characteristics of fascism that were written before he even attempted to be the president. This stuff was written before Trump. It was written in 2003. This article was written in 2003. It wasn't written for Trump, like to make Trump look bad. He just meets every single qualification of a fascist because, breaking news, Donald J. Trump is a fascist. Have I pleaded my case to you well enough, TWD? Is Donald Trump a fascist? Yeah, I guess. We did it, folks. W. Massive W. All right. Very last question. Do you support fascism? No. All right, then welcome to the OAL. Welcome to the OAL. You do not have to agree with me on everything. You do not have to be a Democrat. You do not have to be a socialist. You do not have to be anything. Welcome to the OAL, the only Americans left. A coalition of people from all different sorts of political backgrounds who understand that Donald Trump is a fucking fascist. And if there's any political ideology that we will never accept in America, it is fascism. Welcome, my brother. TWD, you are officially a brother. Welcome, brother. Come here. Come here. Come here. There you go. There you go. You smell good. You smell real good. There you go. All right, you get back over there. You get back over there. You see, folks, it can be done. It can be done. It can be done. Whole lot of gang shit. All right, guys. Well, with that, I think I'm going to end the stream because I got shit to do. All right? I got shit to do, folks. You can link that PDF. Let me see if I can. No, I can't. But you can just look it up. The 14 Key Characteristics of Fascism by Lawrence Britt. I'm proud of you, TWD. I'm proud of you. You made it through. We put you through the meat grinder and you came out alive. That's impressive. Bye, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.